Alright, I thought I would do a quick demonstration on the difference between the Borlebbi meat slicer and the Beswood meat slicer. Borlebbi, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but this is the lower end meat slicer that goes by a whole bunch of different names. I think this has had a whole bunch of labels stuck on it, same equipment, just different labels, and like I say, it's bottom of the line. This at current recording is about $120. This one here is about $350. The quality difference is just uncomparable. This is all plastic, and the way it slides on this bar here, which isn't horrible, but it doesn't have any heft to it, any weight to it. It does have suction cups which suction it down to the counter, which is kind of nice. You kind of need that because of the size of this thing and the weight of this. It's pretty light. This is just heavy duty. It's substantial. So let me turn these on to compare. This is the Beswood. You can hear it hums nice and quietly, and it seems like it's a direct drive motor that's driving the blade here. My guess would be this is like 120 revolutions per minute compared to this one here, which is like 60 revolutions per minute. But as you can tell, this is not direct drive. This has a gearing system. The motor is geared, and then the gears run around the inside of the blade here. This blade is not polished. This blade is polished. This is, I think it's a 7-inch blade. This is a 10-inch blade. The 7-inch blade, the 7-inch unpolished blade, gives you rough cuts of cheese, for example. That's pretty much all I've run through this. This one here, it cuts through it like butter. This one has trouble with just about anything that you put on it. This one, they tout it's easier to clean, or it's supposed to be easy to clean. You actually just turn this to take the blade off, which is convenient to one extent, but this is actually just as easy to clean as this one. When you look at the slicing dialer, or the thickness dialer on here, as you can see, as I rotate this, the back plate here moves closer and further from the blade. This is nice and tight, and this back plate is pretty substantial. This one here, the back plate is just a piece of sheet metal that bends all over the place. In fact, when I first pulled this out of the box, I think it was bent all the way back. It was so far out of alignment, it was crazy. I had to physically bend it back in order to get it to work at all, slicing evenly. If I turn this around, this is how you adjust the thickness of the blade thickness on here. And this knob is not it's pretty loose. So for example, when I put this on 0, which it has a depth gauge from 0 to 15, which I believe is millimeters. When it's on 0, there's actually probably about a ½ millimeter worth of blade exposure. So you're probably 0 on here is probably actually about a ½ millimeter. And if you put it on 0 or you put it on 1, you want something thinly sliced, it will drift. It'll start to slide bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger as you use it. So you've got to keep adjusting this to whatever depth you want, or whatever thickness you want. This is the pusher, which is just a piece of plastic with some little plastic barbs on it. As you can see, this whole thing it's got a plastic wheel here that rides up in here. Just very light, and the only, I don't think this is even a bearing here. I think it's just plastic wrapped around a piece of steel. Anyway, this guy here is just so much better. Rather than spending money on this, I would highly recommend you go with the Beswood, which just cuts like butter. And I'm going to demonstrate the Beswood here. I'm not going to demonstrate the Borlebbi because I don't want to go through cleaning this again, and I'm getting ready to sell it. So there we go. Next thing, I'm going to be slicing some cheese on here. Okay, so here we are. I'm using some provolone cheese, which cuts really nicely on this. Actually, I haven't found anything that doesn't cut really nicely on this. Set the adjustment knob to where you want. I'm going to go with 1 as a setting, which I believe is 1 millimeter. It looks about right. And turn it on. And this thing just goes through anything you put on it like butter. And by the way, I'm not sponsored at all by either of these companies. Though I should say, Borlebbi, if you want to pronounce it however you pronounce it, did actually give me a full 100% refund after I gave them a bad Amazon review. I think they were looking for me to change my Amazon review, which I did update it saying that they gave me a 100% refund, but I did not change the star rating on it at all. And I think this actually works a little bit better if you spray some oil on the blade, which I'm going to do here real quick. I'm not quite sure. It seems to grab a little bit on the back end here. I'm not quite sure what that's about. Oops. But I just love this thing. This is an awesome cheese slicer. Well, awesome meat and cheese slicer. I think that's about all I've got. Thanks for watching.